are starting
Yep,
on our way to qualifying.
jumping in here to the short quali. Of course, it's ERS Season 6, Tier 3, second round. It's Bahrain. Weather
Yeah.
shouldn't be an issue. I don't think it's possible for it to rain in Bahrain. I don't think I've ever seen it, and I don't think I've ever
I've
driven it.
never had it. I've driven it in the wet, but like it hasn't like rained on its own accord, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you were just tinkering and playing with it to see what kind of race
Yeah,
that
just
would be like.
yeah, heavy rain at Bahrain.
All right, so
And
taking a
it's not
look at the
official time.
drivers
Yeah.
on the grid here. I'm not too sure. I guess it's not official time.
No, there's still daylight.
So we're in for a day race here in Sakir. Let's see now. So we have Lando's Milkman again. He won the race last round in Australia. He is in the Red Bull. Ollie Pub in the McLaren. Persian in the Renault. Pasic in the Ferrari. Nixana in the Toro Rosso. Catan. I'm gonna go with Catan in the Haas. Skybits in the other Ferrari. Tesmo in the other Toro Rosso. Calusa in the Alpha. Meme TV in 10th in that McLaren, Jeb in 11th in the other Haas, Silence in the Williams, Tiger Racing in the other Alpha, Carries in the Mercedes, and Bear Gaming in the other Renault. And that is our grid for today's race. 17 minutes to go here in qualifying. What are you looking to see here for tire strategies out of some of these drivers today, Mikhail?
Well, tires here particularly wear notoriously quickly, especially on the softs. The softs are only really good for like maybe 4 or 5 laps at most. So we're probably going to see a lot of these drivers qualify on the medium tires for their final run. But we do see a few people going out on the softs, notably Pasic and the Ferrari. Got cool. I'm gonna push this so hard. Kulusa in
Calusa,
the
yeah,
Alpha.
that's how I pronounce it.
Yeah. So yeah, and those are the only two out on the soft tires at the moment. Um, the majority of the grid opting to go for the hards, which is the safe option at this point. Just get a few feeler laps in.
Yeah, for sure. As we have the McLaren of Meme in currently 10th on the time tower, rounding into Sector 3 now. He'll be looking to start his hot lap, first hot lap of the session from any of these drivers. We'll go on board with him for that.
Yeah, let's stay on board this whole lap. Get a good look at the Bahrain International Circuit. So he crosses the start-finish line, 8th gear, approaching 340 kilometers an hour. Brake just off the 150-meter board, down to second gear for turn 1. Make sure you hit the apex. Doesn't use all the curbing though, losing a bit of time there. Up through turns 2 and 3, second DRS zone. Goes up to 8th gear, brake at the 100-meter board, down to third. Gets a solid rotation out of the car, especially for those hard tires. Rides the curbing of the turn 6. Turn 7 runs a bit wide, but decides to use all of the curbing. Turn 8, nice and clean. Now we're coming to the notorious downhill turn 9 and 10. Very hard to spot your braking zone, but looks like the McLaren driver gets it spot on. Last DRS zone of the straight. Up to 8th gear. Now we're coming up to the uphill section and the notorious turn 12. Make sure not to touch this inside curbing or your car will spin around. Stays well clear of it. Turn 13. Nice and easy. Down the back straight. Put it up to overtake slightly for that back straight. Now the last corner. Open up the DRS, cross the line, and it's looking to be a 130.3, so pretty decent opening times there from the McLaren driver.
Yeah, he was on provisional pole now as Nick Sana crushes that time with a 129.4, also on the hard compound tires. Tesmo, a 131.1. Pasic in the Ferrari on the softs coming across with a 127.9. Looking like he's going to start on the softs with that time. Jeb in third, 129.9, moves back to fourth as Kalusa moves on to the front row provisionally, of course, with a 128.6, again on the soft compound tire. So very interesting to see drivers qualifying here on the softs. I know that more optimal strategies are either hard to medium or medium to hard here on the one-stopper, as those soft tires, like Mikhail said, the degradation on Bahrain, very, very difficult to manage on those soft compound tires. The tires go very fast. Bear Gaming in that Renault, currently rounding off the podium positions here in qualifying with a 129.3 on the mediums. Be curious to see if any of these drivers on those soft compound tires switch at any point here in qualifying, but setting some of the times that we've seen here so far, I don't think it's likely we'll see them starting on anything other than the softs. What about you, Mikhail? What do you think here early on here in quali?
Well, I think it's interesting that Nick Sana is in a really good position so far. He's sitting at 29.4 on the hards, no less. Just a tenth behind Bear, who's a whole compound softer. So if he keeps that kind of form up, he's going to be in for a good race this afternoon.
Yeah, for sure. Gonna pay off real nicely. Lando's Milkman, our round one race winner, coming across now third fastest so far here with 12 minutes remaining. He is on the hard compound tire, setting a 129.081.
That's a pretty decent time on the hards. That is a really quick time on the hards.
So definitely going to be paying attention to the standings leader. That is Lando in the Red Bull.
Well, Nick Sana is currently on a hot lap, so he's coming just down this final DRS zone. So
we'll go on board with him.
See if he can improve at all. But he's using 0 ERS now, so he might have backed out of it. Oh, there's a Ferrari off at turn 10. And that is Skybits. So Skybits having a bit of an off.
No damage on the front wing. So far now, 12 drivers here in Bahrain have set times. Quite possible with a 132 on those soft tires from Skybits that he could be on an outlap right now, just getting a feel for the circuit. Could see him jump onto medium or hard compound tires and still be able to improve with that time. So far, the front row is Pasic and Kalusa in the Ferrari and Alfa Romeo cars. Looks like Pasic might be on a fresher set of soft tires here. Not too sure what his strategy is going to be like moving here into the race. Silence in that Williams now, pushing Lando back a place. He is currently third with a 128.996, just shy of 129 on the soft compound tire. The current 3 drivers up ahead here in quali, all on those softs. Very interesting. Lando in a good position with the hards in fourth. Looks like he might switch on over to the medium compound tires to set another lap here.
It is quite interesting to see how many people are using the softs, as Olipop just crumbs across the line with the 129.8, puts himself in P8 just behind his teammate.
Yeah, again on that soft compound. Tiger Racing and Carries in the Alpha and Mercedes cars still yet to set a lap here with 9 minutes remaining in the short qualification. Looked like Tiger Racing there will go ahead and move out on the medium compound tires, as we just witnessed a bit of a slide from the rear on that McLaren of Olipop there on his in-lap. He does have a Toro Rosso behind him right now. I'm not too sure if the Toro's on a hot lap. I believe that's Nixana on an out lap right now, so he should be okay. McLaren gonna let him on by.
Yeah. So definitely going to see a lot of people come into the pits quite soon for what I like to call the calm before the storm. Just waiting for that track to be at its best, most grip, so you can go out and just set in a blistering lap time. But Tesmo just about to finish his flying lap, coming around the final corner. Let's see if he can improve at all. Up to the line, what's it going to be? A 130.6.
No improvement from his position, though, but definitely an improvement on his time. Looks like he stayed in P11 there.
Yeah, Jeb just came across with a 129.7 on the medium compound. Slotting himself in 8th at the moment. It's a solid time from him.
Jeb, unfortunately, had a very difficult race in Australia. He'll be looking to bounce back from that. If I'm not mistaken, he finished at the back of the grid. It was either due to a DNF early on in the race or just unable to recover from the amount of contact we saw in Australia. Of course, we did see a safety car in Australia. Very, very wet conditions during that race as well. These drivers, I'm sure, looking forward to a nice dry race here in Bahrain. Weather not going to be playing a part today. Not too sure what's going to... Tiger Racing now in that Alpha crosses the line, setting his first time of the session, puts himself into P12 on the mediums, a 130.8. Carries in that Mercedes, still in the pits. Looks like he's just coming out now to start his laps, finally. 6 minutes to go here in the session. Cutting things a little close. Obviously, a little more difficult for drivers to invalidate here in Bahrain than it is on other circuits. Not too many areas where you can cut corners. Unless there are any, of course, that you know of that seem to come up unexpectedly.
It's definitely possible. Like, if you quite lazy through turns 2 and 3, you can get an invalidation there. You can also get one for running a bit wide at turn 7. Getting all 4 wheels across that white line. Other than that, yeah, if you just start to play with the track limits a bit more, it could be risky. But those are the only really real 2 spots that are quote-unquote common around this circuit.
So far here with 5 minutes to go in quali, Pasic still on that provisional pole spot on that soft compound tire with that 127.975. Calusa in the Alpha behind him in second. Silence in the Williams in third. Lando in that Red Bull in fourth at the moment. Persian and Bear Gaming in the Renaults running 5 and 6. They'll be happy with that third row start, of course, for the Renault constructor. Nixana in 7th, jumping up into 5th after his flyer. He sets a 129.2 on the hard compound tire. He is absolutely flying here in quali on those hards, putting himself into a very good position.
It's interesting that he's still going for the hard tires. He's going to be cutting it close in order to get back to the pits, put on that set of mediums, and go out for another hot lap. It's going to be kind of really close.
Yeah, he's putting a lot of laps on that set of tires as well, so hopefully he's able to get in and go out on those mediums, because you don't want to be really starting the race with that kind of tire wear. Going to really throw a wrench in possible strategy options, especially if we see a safety car. That pushes him jumping into 5th, pushes Persian and Bear Gaming and the Renaults back to 6 and 7. Jeb in the Haas, currently set in 8th. The two McLarens round off the top 10 in 9th and 10th. Tiger Racing in 11th in that Alpha. Tesmo 12th with the Toro Rosso. K4 in that Haas running 13th. Skybits in the Ferrari back into the pits now. We'll see if he comes out to set one more lap here. Looks like he's
Lando's
going to jump on the
Milkman on a
mediums.
flyer. This is going to be a really quick time on the mediums. Around the final corner, what's it going to be? It's a 128.3.
So he jumps onto the front row of the grid there with the medium compounds, pushing back the soft runners of Calusa and Silence. So he's up into P2 now in the Red Bull.
On the mediums, no less. He's going to be in a really good position.
Skybits now currently at the back of the grid here for qualifying so far on his outlap. Watching for traffic there through turn 3.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see a lot of drivers come out now to set their final runs on the mediums as expected, get the optimal one-stop strategy.
Yep, the storm of cars, as you said, beginning now here in Sakir. Everybody coming out now. I think we've only got 4 cars in the pits at the moment. Couple drivers currently heading out.
There's a lot of cars all very close together.
Yeah, the grid is looking very bunched up at the moment. How would you say Bahrain works for just overall balance as a circuit? Would you say it's a fairly balanced circuit between turns and straights, or would you say it's more of a straight dominated circuit? Or how would you describe Bahrain for the viewers?
Well, just looking at the map, you can see there's a lot of long straights into hard braking zones. So you definitely want to be running as little downforce as possible. However, you do need some downforce for stability and that extra turn in and that extra ability to carry speed, especially in that middle sector. But it definitely is a low downforce circuit if you can get away with it.
Now on board with Skybits in the Ferrari. Currently sat at the back of the grid in P15. He starts his hot lap here, moving up into turn 4.
Yeah, third gear goes a little bit wide, but manages to keep it on the road, using all of that curb on the inside. Touches that inside curb, and that can be risky, because that curb can spin you around, but just lifts to the tail. Oh, he gets a bit of wheel spin out of turn 8. Now coming into the notorious turn 9 and turn 10. Down to first gear, get the rotation. Short shift up to 4th. Gonna go down the last ERS zone, break at the 100-meter board. Just missed that apex there. So there's a bit of time left on the table, but so far it's been a decently clean lap from the Ferrari driver.
So it's a purple sector 2 there in the Ferrari.
It comes around onto that back straight. See one of them, see Lando's Milkman get out of the way. As was like Katon retires. So you'd be happy with that 129.8 as Skybits.
Wow.
129.008.
Very nice lap out of the Ferrari driver here. He jumps into P5 with almost no time to spare. He could, if he really wanted to, set another lap now if he had the fuel in the car, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be happy with that. Better off to save the tires for the race. Very nice lap out of him at the end of quali. Sure, he'll be impressed with that. Tiger Racing unable to set faster. Persian's coming across the line now. We'll see how he does as he rounds the final 2 turns. He's on the medium compound tire. What's he able to pull off here? Ooh, pushes Skybits into 6th.
That is
he
very
comes into
close.
4th.
That is very
nice.
close. Passek goes faster. 127.941. And I believe there's just the McLaren of Olipop left to finish his final run on those soft compound tires. Running a bit low on ERS though. Let's see if he can improve. Ooh, lots of wheel spin out of that final corner. No, he's not going to improve, so that is your grid.
Well, very interesting to see some of the difference in tire strategies here coming out of quali. See how these strategies pay off in the race. But for the grid lineup, it's Pasic in the Ferrari on pole, Kalusa rounding off the front row in the Alpha in second. Nixana is in third in that Toro Rosso, Lando in fourth, Persian in fifth, Silence in sixth, Skybits in seventh, Carey in the Mercedes is eighth, Tesmo ninth, K4 in 10th. That rounds off your top 10 here in Bahrain. Bear Gaming 11th, Olipub 12th, Jeb in 13th, Meme in 14th, and Tiger Racing at the back of the grid rounding things off in 15th.
Gonna be interesting how those top three all on the softs deal with this first stint. Because
of course, guys, we'll be paying very close attention to turn one here in
we're now
Bahrain.
Just waiting for the drivers to finalize their setups and get their race strategies in order. So definitely I'm looking forward to this battle between Lando's Milkman and Persian King. I mean, those times were so close in qualifying between those two.
Yeah, definitely. Hoping for a nice battle there between the Red Bull and the Renault. Be nice to see that for sure. Skybit's also on the medium compound tires, not too far behind. I do believe it is only the Williams of Silence separating Skybits and Persian King at the moment, and that Williams on the soft compound. As we're off onto the formation lap here in Sakir. As you can see the tires there. So the front three drivers, like we mentioned before, on the softs, it'll be Lando and Persian in 4-5 on the medium compound tires, with the Williams in 6th on softs. Everybody else from 7th to 11th is on the mediums. Olipub in that McLaren in 12th, he's also choosing to start here on the soft compound. Jeb, the McLaren Meme, and Tiger Racing in 13th through 15th will also be on the medium. So it's looking like a medium-dominated grid, obviously, at the moment. We'll see what kind of tire strategies we see here. Of course, possibility of safety car, VSC can definitely shake things up here in the opening phase of the race. All these drivers now looking to get their tires nice and warm ahead of the opening lap. Very important to get the tire temperatures up here in the formation lap, as it takes a little bit of time to get these tires up to proper temperature here in Bahrain.
Well, especially on the mediums. The softs, it's not really too much of an issue. But the thing with the softs is that you get so much wear on the formation lap that the tires will basically go off after like 2 full laps. So when we get to laps maybe like 3 or 4, we're definitely going to see those soft runners start to struggle a little bit.
Very nice to see a Ferrari on pole here in Bahrain just minutes after they revealed their car ahead of the 2020 season. Somebody's high on the Ferrari way of life at the moment.
Yeah, it's always nice to see those red cars doing well. Hopefully they can do a bit better in the real life season this year.
Hopefully.
Anyway, we wait for the grid to form up and get this race underway. Who are you going to be looking out for this first couple of laps?
I think I'm going to have to take a look at Lando to see what kind of speed he can have behind these soft runners over the first couple of laps. I think he and Persian are definitely going to be the two to watch moving through into the pit window, of course, because of these soft runners. Turn one, obviously, I want there to be some nice, clean wheel-to-wheel action. It's lights out now here in Bahrain, and we're off down into turn one on the opening lap of this campaign. It is the Bahrain Grand Prix. Tier 3, round 2 Season 6 for
the
ERS,
Williams.
as we have some damage on the Williams there of Silence. Huge issues there through turn 1 here. Nixana up into first now through turn 1. Calusa pretty tight to him in that Alpha, coming down into turn 4 now. Toro jumps
Somebody's
out
having
in
a
front.
Persian. Persian's around. Persian's around.
Persian having issues there. Ooh, not too good for the Renault driver. Doesn't look like he has any damage just yet. We'll have a quick look as he comes around the turn. Whenever my camera decides to switch here. Yes, and he does have damage. He is missing that front right end plate here as Nixana now, the race leader, here only in Sector 2 of the opening lap. Huge shuffle of grid positions there so far. We've seen Persian King drop back 10 places. Pasic now in 13th in that Ferrari after starting on pole, so a very unfortunate turn 1 for him. Nixana, of course, started on 3rd, so he's up 2 positions. Lando up a slot as well in that Red Bull on the medium compound. He'll be looking to make some moves here, I'm sure, moving up into the official first lap of the race on lap 2. We'll also be looking forward to seeing some interesting fast lap times as well. We'll see if we get an early pit stop here from anybody. We have no safety car, surprisingly, with the amount of contact we saw through turn 1 there.
Well, the two McLarens side by side into turn 1. Ooh. The slightest bit of contact, but Meme gets through. Wins the better of that one.
Persian and Silence into the pits now. Silence jumping onto the medium compound. Persian onto the hards very early on here in the race. It's going to be quite a fight for those two drivers to fight their way back through the grid here. Two McLarens still very close to one another. All of the intervals here on the timing tower very tight as we wait for a full update from Codemasters moving into lap 3.
There seems to be a bit of a gap forming between the top 3 and the rest of the grid.
Looks like it
Carrie's,
yeah.
Carrie's trying to is struggling to get those tires up to temperature and has a bit of a train forming behind him.
Yeah, Lando, meanwhile, on the medium tires, still right up front with those two soft runners.
Yeah, Lando's now in a really good position to get a really good result here.
Yeah, he's in very good control of his race at the moment with very little pressure from the rear. He can focus on what's in front of him.
Lap 3 now, so DRS is enabled. Nixana coming across the line to set the fastest lap of the race so far. So it's going to be interesting to see how this massive train, oh my goodness, look at this massive train from being led by the Mercedes of Carrie. It's going to be interesting to see how this DRS is going to affect things in the midfield.
The P6 McLaren of Meme is very tight on the rear of this Toro Rosso right now. He was just 2/10 behind coming through Sector 2 here. We'll see if he can make a move on the DRS straight after 9 and 10.
Yeah, unfortunate for Persian and Silence. Having a bit of a contact at the first corner. Lando's also getting fairly close to the Alfa Romeo of Calusa.
Tesmo also very tight on that McLaren, running in 4th of Carries at the moment, coming down into the back straight.
Oh, Bear's going for a move down the back straight on the McLaren of Ollie.
Down the inside for the Renault here. No contact. Very smooth overtake from that Renault coming down into the pit straight.
Lando's going for it. Lando's going for the move, does he? Yep, side by side into turn 1. And it looks like he's got the move done.
Very nice from Lando there.
He's up into P2 now. As you can see, just this massive train behind him.
Bear
Carrie's just
and
getting
Olipop
swamped.
still fighting very tight here coming up into turn 4.
Oh, a bit of contact between Carey and Tesmo. They're still side by side. Oh my goodness. Carey is not giving this up without a fight.
Ooh, we see some debris from the McLaren of, I think that's Meme there, as he tries to make a
Meme.
lunge into fourth here. Very, very, very interesting there. He misses his front
like
left end
this.
plate. This is
I don't like
very
this.
interesting coming down into 10 now. Ooh, a little bit of contact from the Toro and the McLaren there on the curbing, as it is now Carey's in P4 coming through into turn 11. Everybody with DRS coming down that sector 2 straight. Very, very tight racing here from the Toro Rosso coming into turn 12 now. Are we going to see some curb action? Ooh, on the curb.
Mounts the curb.
The
Get
Toro's
out wide.
off. The Toro's off. Tesmo taps the curb, runs wide on the outside. Unfortunately, he's unable to get things back under control. He drops back into 13th now, and that definitely shakes some things up in that midfield battle. Of course, Meme with that end plate missing, he's going to struggle to come behind the Mercedes. Skybits coming down the inside on the pit straight in that Ferrari, making a move on the Haas driver. We'll see if he's able to make the move stick coming down into turn 1, as there is a lot of traffic up ahead.
Seems to make that move stick for the time being, as a K4 picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings.
Very interesting to see Pasic already back into P7 now in that Ferrari, as we saw him earlier on have some issues through turn 1, got dropped back to the back of the grid. Skybits and him, teammates of course, we'll see if any team orders come into play here, as Skybits is currently on the better strategy.
Well, these soft runners are definitely going to start feeling the struggle roundabout now. Tires will still have a bit to give, but not a whole lot, so we should see all these soft runners pit relatively soon, maybe in a lap or two.
Calusa on those soft compound tires, less than half a second separating him and Lando at the moment. Lando up in second, of course, as we come down the sector 3 back straight. Heading onto the pit straight now. We'll see if he can make a move with DRS here.
He's keeping it in the high ERS. It doesn't look like he's going to go for it here.
He makes the move on the inside, but he thinks better of it coming down into turn 1 here. Quite possibly we see the move here after turn 3 into the second DRS zone.
Pasic has pitted.
Pasic into the pits on the softs. Looks like he's jumping onto the mids here.
So
Calusa unable to commit to a move here yet. Olipop gaining on his teammate in the other McLaren. The fight for P5 has begun. He's very, very tight on the rear of his teammate. Olipop on the soft compound tires. Ooh, almost taps him on the rear there.
Meme is definitely struggling with that front wing damage we saw earlier. Carey's been able to pull nearly a 3-second gap already to the McLaren.
Gonna go on board with Skybits now, going into turn 10 here as we watch this battle between the McLarens unfold down the DRS straight. He'll be looking to maybe pick up some real estate as well, as he also has the DRS. Coming down into turn 11 now. I always love, excuse me, watching turn 11, 12, because you just don't know what some of these drivers are gonna do on turn 12. It's a very, very, very interesting turn given the curbing that's there.
Oh, Bear and Jeb side by side through turn 13 as well, right behind Skybits.
Some very exciting wheel-to-wheel action here so far in this race. Down the pit straight now.
He's gaining, but is he gaining enough? I don't know. No, he decides to think better of it. Ollie goes defensive into turn 1. Manages to hold it for the time being, as Jeb gets a 3-second time penalty. Need to keep it on the track, guys. So Skybits does get past the Haas driver of Jeb for that 7th position.
Ooh, Jeb coming across Bear Gaming there. Very, very tight into turn 8 as we go through 9 and 10 now. Any contact? Doesn't look like there's any contact just yet from any of these guys coming into turn 10 as we move down the sector 2 straight with DRS. Ooh,
Oh, Nixana. Nixana, he's past the curb. He's off.
Nixana, turn 12 on the softs, losing a lot of traction on those tires. He's going to try and get things under control and maintain the podium position. He will most definitely have to pit here as he's missing almost all of his front wing.
Yeah,
With
no
the
soft tires are
Mercedes
done.
is just gaining on him. He gains so much time, that Mercedes.
Yeah, he goes in the pits.
Yeah.
Not surprisingly.
Skybit's now making a move down the inside. Ooh, the McLaren driver going into the pits pushes Skybit's off. I don't think he was expecting the McLaren to pit just then, but of course it is Ollie Pub in that McLaren jumping into the pit. Skybit's now in 6th, fighting with Jeb down into turn 1. Who's going to make the move stick? Skybit's, not enough traction coming out of that turn there. Not enough grip. It looks like Jeb's going to make the move stick for now. Very, very nice to see that wheel-to-wheel racing there. No contact. Moving up through into turn 4 now. Jeb in 5th behind the McLaren of Meme. Skybit's in 6th still in that Ferrari. He'll be looking to make a move back up the grid. Bear Gaming just watching all of this unfold in that Renault with Tesmo right behind him. Very, very tight gaps within the midfield at the moment. K4 taking a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings.
This DRS train is just amazing. But no, none of them really seem to be able to pass Meme, so he's doing a pretty good job holding them up, defending that track position.
Yeah, very good job given the damage that he suffered on that front left wing. Jeb coming down this sector 3 back straight here. He could be looking to make a move on the pit straight with Skybit's very, very tight on his rear as well. Could be yet again another very interesting turn 1 here on lap 10. We go.
Nah, still lap 9.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry. It is lap 9. Yes, Lando, of course, in the lead by 10 seconds. Lando absolutely flying in that Red Bull as we have a little bit of tapping there from the rear. Ooh, the Haas driver just tapping the rear of the McLaren ever so gently.
Bear gets past as well.
Skybits looks like he's having a very patient race here. He's letting these guys make their moves. He's got a lot of energy in the bank at the moment, so he could be looking to make something happen here. A lot of these drivers with a lot of energy given the DRS train at the moment. Meme, however, with that wing damage, currently only half charged.
Disconnect from Jeb, so unfortunate for him. Hopefully he can join back soon and not lose too many positions.
Skybits should be able to make an easy overtake here into turn 11. Yeah, Skybits and Tesmo overtaking that Haas into turn 12 now.
I forgot to mention this, but Nixana's on softs again.
So Nixana has pitted onto softs. So could we see a 2-stop out of Nixana? I mean, we'd almost have to at this point.
Well, you have to. He's only a soft compound thus far, so we will need to stop again, most definitely.
Very, very interesting. Could play into his favor with a safety car, though.
Even after the stint, if he goes onto the mediums, it's still going to be stretching it.
Well, we have a move here. Skybits now wheel-to-wheel with Bear Gaming in that Renault.
Ooh, bit of contact.
Bit of contact there, and the Renault goes wide into the dirt. Still fighting, though. Skybits, less than a tenth separating him and that Renault going into turn 4 now as we enter sector 2. Very tight racing from these two. Doesn't look like any of them suffered any damage.
Jeb rejoins, that's good. So hopefully he can get himself back into this amazing battle in the midfield. But Lando is just pulling away with this. 10 seconds the gap back to carry after the pressure was relieved from those soft tire runners. Just running away with it at this point.
As we have some larger gaps starting to form here on the grid, it looks like the first phase of the race, wheel-to-wheel action, has started to subside here, as we still have a couple of tight intervals with Bear Gaming and Skybits, of course, fighting for podium positions up there in the front portion of the grid. Calusa in that Alpha, currently half a second behind his teammate Tiger Racing on the fresh mediums. We'll see if he's able to make an overtake down at the pit straight now.
Easy as you like.
Yeah, easy, easy, easy there.
Want to see if Bear can get past Skybits again. Going up the hill towards turn 4. Not backs out of it. Thinks better of it. Fight another day. Yeah, we're definitely seeing these little clumps forming from these drivers.
It's a very interesting battle here between the Renault and Ferrari there for the P4. Coming down into turns 9 and 10 now. We'll see if Bear gets a little bit of a better exit here into the DRS straight. Skybits might not have DRS here. And he does not have the DRS coming down the Sector 2 straight. However, Bear Gaming does. He'll be happy about that, as he's able to make up a little bit of time on the Ferrari there. Coming in through turns 11 and 12 now.
Pasek chasing down Nixana for that final points position as well. Something to keep your eye on.
Of course, Pasek, our pole sitter here ahead of the race. Unfortunately, some accidents turned his race upside down early on, but he is making a nice comeback through the grid on those medium tires.
I think Skybits is going to go for something here as well on this main straight. He's gaining really quickly on Mei.
Looks like he's got the outside coming into turn 1 here. Ooh, very, very tight here up through turns 2 and 3. Skybits should have the DRS, and he does, coming up through into turn 4 now.
Mei just shut the door completely on Skybits. He goes to try to go around the outside. And it's still side by side.
Skybits is up into P3 now. Very nice move from him. Very clean. Ooh, and the Renault taps the McLaren on the rear. The McLaren is out of this race. He slams into the wall. That is very unfortunate for Mei and the McLaren.
Safety
he was
car.
having a fantastic race. The safety car is out now, guys. The strategies are about to get flipped on their head. Lap 12, safety car here in Bahrain.
Yeah, this is right on the pit window as well. Tesmo will be absolutely kicking himself. He just pitted the lap before, and now he's going to lose so much time to the safety car.
If you're Tesmo right now, you're staying out or you're going in?
Well, he's already pitted.
Yeah, so he's not going to have another set of tires to switch to here for the remainder of the race. So for him, the optimal strategy, obviously, going to be to stay out. He will gain a couple of positions once the drivers go into the pits. Lando is got to be loving this right now, as he's coming into the pits for the hards. Carries in the Mercedes. He's going to be going on to the hards as well. Anyone on the mediums right now definitely going to be jumping onto those hard compound tires. Skybits now should be jumping onto hard tires. He is. What an accident there. The Renault of Bear Gaming tapping that McLaren of Mei on the rear through Sector 2.
Persian King drive-through penalty speeding under safety car. What?
Persian. That is not good. Persian not going to be happy about that in the Renault. He's going to come into the pits now. We'll see if he serves the drive-through now. I don't believe he's allowed.
You can't serve it under the safety car. Oh, he'll be so mad with himself about that. Safety car comes out to save his race, and then he goes and does that.
Persian onto mediums.
Yeah, so unsurprisingly, basically the entire grid pits. And currently it is Lando's Milkman who is leading the pack on those fresh hards. Carry right behind him, also on fresh hards, and then Ollie on those slightly worn mediums just behind.
Very interesting to see out of Ollie. Do you think he would have had another set of tires that he could have gone on to? Or do you think that his position right now was the best option as far as pit's concerned?
I personally would have probably just gone with the rest of the grid and just pit onto hards, because with the safety car, the hards will definitely make it to the end of the race.
Yeah.
However, those mediums, I don't think they'll make it. Even
Yeah.
like,
Ooh. Looks like he taps the rear of Carries there. Yes, he
gets a
does.
5-second penalty for that.
That's definitely going to affect his race position as things are currently standing. As we're moving around the last two turns here on lap 13 under safety car conditions. Safety car staying out once again.
Yeah, it's gonna wait for those Persian silence
Ollie
and
into the
K4.
pits now.
Okay, so he does decide to pit. Yeah, he does opt to go for those hard compound tires. Serves that looks like he's serving a penalty or something as well. So that promotes Skybits up into third, Bear Gaming up into fourth, and Kaluza is currently in fifth under the safety car conditions. As Ollie rejoins in 13th, just behind the Williams of Silence. So there shouldn't be any more pit stop dramas. Persian King and Pasek might have a bit of trouble making those tires last, but it's definitely not impossible.
Would you say they might run the risk of a puncture on the closing laps?
Yeah, they'll definitely be risking it.
Ollie
As
Pop
Ollie,
going 5-second penalty for exceeding track limits under safety car conditions. His safety car has not gone well at all.
well, we're just seeing K4 coming onto the back of the queue, so we should see the safety car in this lap.
Fortunately for a lot of these drivers, nobody had been lapped at this point in the race. Otherwise, the lap drivers would not be required to catch the safety car queue. But I do believe the safety car, yes, in this lap. So it's going to be green flag racing here for lap 15. The Red Bull of Lando slowing things right down.
And K4
Lando, obviously, having had that 10-second gap, not going to be too impressed at the moment. Had it been a VSC, he would have had the perfect pit stop. But due to the fact that he is required to catch the safety car and be at the front of that queue, he has lost a lot of track position.
Looks like we're going.
Green flags here in Sakir as we move through down into turn 1. Of course, we'll be watching for a lot of contact. K4 taking a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane as there's a lockup from the Alpha there through turn 1. Skybits in third still.
It's been a great restart for Lando. Or Lando's Milkman, I should say. It's already pulled almost a second. Just in 3 corners.
Tesmo. Ooh, Jeb. Wheel to wheel with the 2 Toro Rossos right now through turn 8. Currently wheel to wheel with Nixana. Tesmo up into P6 now. We'll see if Jeb's able to do anything here coming through turn 10 as he hugs the inside curb there. 2 Toro Rossos wheel to wheel down the sector 2 straight into turn 11. We'll see if they maintain that wheel to wheel action up through turns 12.
Nixana gets better of that one.
All drivers steering very clear of that inside curb on turn 12 there. Nobody wanting to, of course, tap that curb and end their race. Persian and Jeb fighting now down the sector 3 back straight. Persian on the mediums. Could see a move from him as he comes around the inside. Keeping very, very tight to Jeb there. He makes a move stick. He is now ahead of Jeb into P9.
Jeb pits.
Jeb pitting.
Must have wing damage.
Yeah, he must have suffered some damage through turn 1 or the opening sector of that race. Silence, Ollie having a bit of a battle here. Silence now ahead of the Williams, or sorry, the McLaren of Olipop. Going into turn 4 here, we'll see if Olipop's able to make a switchback on the Williams driver ahead of him.
Well, Skybitch just passed Carey for 2nd place. Really good move from the Ferrari. It's a yellow flag in sector 2. That's Kaluza.
Kalusa's off in sector 2.
I think he's got a lot of front wing damage.
He drops back to 12th now. He's currently missing his front right end plate and a few of his fins. That's major front right damage on the Alpha for Kalusa.
Tesmo and Pasek going side by side. I think Pasek will get the better of that, of course, on the medium tires. So definitely going to have a bit more grip at this stage of the race.
Persian, though, coming around the inside, down the back, sector 3 straight now. Along the inside, wheel to wheel, in through these last couple turns. Looks like a little bit of a tap there from the Toro. DRS now being enabled for lap 17. Persian able to make a move on that Toro Rosso, but the Toro Rosso coming back down the inside here. Persian. Did he forget about his drive-through penalty? Oh, no.
Oh, no. And
there's major contact with this. Oh, my God. K4 is out of this race. It looks like turn 12 has claimed a driver here. He has completely blown his front right suspension, and we have yet again another safety car here on lap 17 of the Bahrain Grand Prix for ERS Season 6, Tier 3, Round 2.
Did Persian not realize he had a drive-through, or?
Not too sure what happened with Persian there.
And then Silence.
Very unfortunate for the Renault of Persian there, as he was up into P7 when he was disqualified from the session. The moment he crossed into lap 17 for ignoring a drive-through penalty.
And then Silence, just following too closely, slams right into the back of him as well.
What a collision from K4 as well on turn 12, tapping that inside curb, going straight through into the inside wall, blowing his entire front right suspension. Very unfortunate for the Haas driver. If you're Jeb right now, you've got to be happy. You have got to be happy if you're Jeb right now. He's going to have another opportunity to get back into this race.
Ollie drive-through penalty under safety car. Come on, guys.
Ollie in that McLaren, front wing damage, severe front wing damage. We should see a pit stop from him.
This guy's pitting.
Sky going into the pits on the hard compound tires.
Why is he pitting? He's just given up a podium. I think he's just given up a podium.
Very interesting decision here from the Ferrari.
Definitely a gamble. See if it pays off.
12 laps on the medium compound. Could be interesting. Could be competitive through that point in the race on those tires. Silence. Olipop coming out of the pits now. Olipop had that wing change. Silence definitely lost out on some major track position there, unfortunately, hitting the rear of the retired Renault of Persian King going down into turn 1. Fortunately, Persian suffering a disqualification for ignoring a drive-through penalty. Of course, you guys, you only have 3 laps to serve that drive-through penalty here in the race.
It's quite a odd mistake, especially for someone of Persian King's caliber to make.
Very possible that he received that penalty under safety car conditions. I do believe it was the first full lap of safety car when he received that penalty. And then I think we saw another full lap from the safety car, and then the restart. I think
That wouldn't count
maybe...
for it. That wouldn't count for it. I saw him like cross the line. Remember, it was on the lap that DRS was enabled. So he definitely had time. He must have just forgot about it. Somehow. Oh, and Jeb's around. Turn 12. Under safety car as well.
Any damage on that Haas? Kalusa has left the session. He'll look to get back in here quick before the restart. Currently sitting in P9. Jeb doesn't look like he got any damage on that Haas.
Nah.
He'll live to die
He
another
avoided
day.
the wall. He avoided the wall, which is good. Just lost a couple positions. Yeah, but the safety car is going to go for another lap because of that. And Kalusa's AI decides to pit him again. Oh,
Very
no.
similar, very similar to what we saw last night in PPR Division 1 with Rogue, unfortunately, when he lost connection. His AI making the brutal decision to jump into the pits. What's going through your mind right now if you are at the front of the pack with Lando?
Well, right now Lando just needs to get the start that he did on the last safety car restart.
Jeb tapping the rear of Olipop there, taking a 5-second severe collision penalty. And he has lost his front right end plate here under the safety car. So that's very unfortunate for this Haas driver.
Just when the safety car saved him as well after that horrible restart for both Haas's in the first safety car. Yeah, to answer your question, if you're Lando right now, you just want to make sure that you know, keep those tires in a working range. They'll definitely make it to the end of the race, especially with the 2 safety cars. Definitely help extend the tire life, but you just want to make sure those tires are up to temperature. And you just get a clean restart. Got a really good restart last time, so he just needs to really try and do that again as best he can as a carry. Just like, okay. He's just lagging for me. Like he went off.
Well, safety car is going to be coming in as race control has just informed us so. The grid going to start backing up now. Lando slowing his pace right down, waiting to get a good jump on the restart here. It's going to be green flag racing here for lap 20 of the Bahrain Grand Prix. 10 lap
sprint to the end.
Should be a lot of fun, barring any damage.
I'm still a bit, there's still question marks over Pasek. I don't think those medium tires are going to make it.
6 laps on the mids, 10 laps to go, 7 laps on those tires. He's got 10 more to go. It's going to be tight for sure. As we're green racing here, coming down into turn 1 now. The Red Bull out in front, carries in second. The Toro Rosso making a move around the outside of that Mercedes. Very quick move there from Nick Sana up into P2.
All the cars getting through turn 1, 2, and 3 cleanly on the restart. Good to see. Like Jeb side by side at the back here with Ollie.
Oh,
he's
spun it. He gets things back under control, doesn't lose a place, fortunately for him. Silence wasn't tight enough to the rear of that Haas in order to make a move there. Jeb going wide down into turn 8 now.
Yeah, Tesmo going wide as well at turn 8. There's a couple positions. Has to fend off Skybits.
Skybits, of course, on those medium compound tires. Tesmo on the 8-lap-old hard compound tires. Skybits currently less than 2/10 separate him between the Toro Rosso ahead of him, going through a turn 11 now, up into turn 12. This is where we've seen a lot of action so far in this race. All of these drivers have to avoid that inside curb. That inside curb is deadly, as it took out K4 earlier on.
You've also seen Ixana have a little spin there as well.
Yes, we did, and Jeb as well. Fortunately for him, he didn't take any damage at the time.
I just hope that Ollie serves his drive-through. We don't want another car disconnected. Disqualified, I mean.
Pasek on the rear of that Mercedes coming down into turn 1. Thinks better of a move here. Just sits on the rear of him. Skybits now ahead of Tesmo. Coming up through turn 3.
So Ollie will probably have to serve his drive through this lap. At the end of this lap. If not, we could have another disqualification from this race, which would be really unfortunate. The gaps seem to be opening up between the top three and the rest of the grid. Pasic.
Ooh, Skybit's tapping the rear of the Renault there. No damage from him, though, fortunately. It did tap the rear of Bear Gaming moving into turn 10. As we come down the straight here, we see the Toro Rosso of Tesmo. He thought of going and making a move there. He thought better of it through into turn 11, though, as we come through 12.
Yeah, it's have a bit of a train going here, but as DRS is going to be enabled on this next lap, once Lando's Milkman passes that start-finish line, gonna hopefully see a lot more wheel-to-wheel action to the braking zones.
Silence in P11, looking to get into the points. He's very, very tight to the rear of the Haas of Jeb right now. As Ollie goes into the pits, Jeb and Silence both move up in position. Kalusa hopefully able to capitalize on that as well. Ollie Pob serving his drive-through penalty. Good for him to remember. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Skybits very tight to the rear of the Renault of Bear Gaming right now, fighting for 5th position here. As Nixana in the Toro Rosso behind Lando is still less than a second behind. Lando obviously looking to increase that gap. Well, coming down into turn 10 now.
Lando's Milkman and Nixana have already pulled a 2.2 second gap to carry in third. So they're definitely in a battle of their own for the win. Wonder how these two drivers will deal with the pressure.
Silence in that Williams dropping back more than a second behind Jeb now. Hopefully he'll be able to improve on that to get the DRS through down the pit straight.
Well, Nixana has that ERS up into overtake, opens the DRS. He's going to go for it. He's gaining, but I don't think he's gaining enough. It's going to be quite a dive if he decides to go for it. Decides better of it. Good for him.
Slip of the rear there for Lando.
It's going to compromise his run going into turn 4.
This is where it's going to happen. Around the outside now for the Toro Rosso into turn 4.
He leaves the space. They're still side by side.
And he gets the job done. Very, very nice.
Excellent racing. Excellent racing from those two.
I don't think it's over, though.
No, absolutely not. I don't think Lando's Milkman is going to let that go.
No way.
So easily.
No way.
I'm also keeping on this Bear and Skybits battle as well. Bear's slowly catching him as well. And Pasic also getting relatively close to the back of that Mercedes. But definitely the one to watch here is the battle for the lead. Both of them are on really low ERS, so they both have been pushing. But Lando seems to be struggling on those hard tires.
He had a bit of a lockup there through the last turn. He still will have the DRS, though, so he'll be able to make up a little bit of that time. Carries, closing the gap now due to the mistake. Pasic on the pit straight now, coming down into turn 1, has made a move. Will he be able to make it stick through this turn? It looks like he will. He is on the medium compound tire. It is 11-lap mediums versus 11-lap hards for the Ferrari and Mercedes drivers right now.
Carries going back at it. Pasic defends the inside, going to turn 4. Oh, he leaves the door open. And Carrie still side by side with the Ferrari. Unbelievable stuff. But Carrie slams the door shut on Pasic. Says, no thank you, you have to come another day. But Carey losing the back end at turn 10. This is going to give Pasek a run.
Down
Side
the
by side
outside
going
now
into
with
turn
the
11.
DRS. No DRS. Oh, sorry. He had the DRS. He shut the DRS going into turn 11. Ooh, there's contact.
Oh, he's around.
Carey's tapping the inside of that Ferrari. Ooh, you touched the wrong side of him, my friend.
So
Very interesting racing there from the Ferrari and Mercedes drivers. Pasek now up behind his teammate. Skybits on those medium tires is up on the podium.
Third.
Very nice from him.
Questionable
strategy. Questionable strategy, but he got it done.
Yeah, I really did not expect him to get back to third after that pit stop. Pasek looking to struggle a little bit on those worn mediums. Of course, they are going to be quite worn at this point. There's still 5 laps to go. So, I know he's pretty much committed now. If he were to pit now, he'd be out of the points. Still this fight for the lead. After Lando's little mistake.
I feel like Lando has been struggling on these hard compound tires with the rear ever since the restart.
Yeah, definitely didn't get those rears up to temperature, but they certainly are now. And he's back in DRS range. He is catching Nixana slowly, but I don't know if it's going to be enough.
Pasek within DRS time of Skybits at the moment. He is on the older tires.
Touch the curb there. That was a bit
very risky.
Move down further. Looking at Carey, he's trying to make up some ground after the little tap that he had with Pasek just a couple laps ago. Closing right up on that Toro Rosso of Tesmo. He does have the DRS.
Watching silence now as well in the Williams on the rear of that Alpha coming down into turn 1 here. We'll see if he's able to make a fast dive.
Well, Carey thinks better of it. Decides to stick behind the Toro Rosso for... Oh, Tesmo gets a horrible run and actually gets punted.
Carey's tapping the rear there of Tesmo.
He's angry.
Carey's making all the wrong moves at the moment. Tapping the inside of Pasek and the Ferrari, now tapping the rear of Tesmo in that Toro Rosso. He has got to get his emotions under control here if he wants to finish this race without penalties. Tesmo dropping back into the last points position on the grid. He is now in 10th. Jeb picking up a spot, as well as Silence, Tiger Racing, all moving ahead with that drop back of the Toro Rosso.
Lando's within 4/10 of Nixana. And he's got a whole lot more battery. A lot more ERS, I should say.
I think we'll see a move here on lap 27 coming down the pit straight. Or at the very least through the Sector 1 DRS straight as well.
Just needs to get a good exit here.
Oh, I'd say he's got him here. Yeah, he's very tight to the rear of that Toro Rosso. Moving down the pit straight now. The DRS rear wing open. Round the inside now. He is ahead, moving down into turn 1 as he goes. He takes the optimal racing line as he made a clear overtake there down into turn 1. Is he able to make this stick through the second DRS zone here? It is going to be the Toro Rosso this time round with the DRS.
Oh, Tiger just getting squeezed into the wall by Carey.
Ooh, wheel to wheel now through turn 4. Oh, a little bit of contact there.
But Nixana holds on as a bit of another tap.
Lando tapping the rear of Nixana. Nixana is into a spin. Skybits now in that Ferrari up to P2 with his teammate close behind him. It's now Ferraris currently looking like they're going to lock down that podium with the 2-3 positions. Bear Gaming in that Renault, though, 1.1 behind Pasek in that Ferrari. Lando back into this race lead, although it be questionable given the tap on the rear of Nixana. Nixana is going to be upset about that, of course. Making a move down into turn 11. Bear Gaming shuts the door. Nixana taps the rear left tire of Bear Gaming. Going up through turn 11, now into turn 12. He'll be looking to make a move now. Oh my God, what did we just watch?
For sixth. Look at this scrap for sixth. Like 3 drivers. They were all side by side going into turn 11.
Carries in the middle of that right now. Tiger Racing in 6th, Carries in 7th, Silence in 8th. Could we see a move from Silence down the pit straight? I definitely think we're going to see some action here coming down into turn 1 on the second final lap of this campaign in Bahrain.
We're on the penultimate lap now.
Very tight here going round into turn 1. He is wheel to wheel with the Renault going up through turns 2 and 3. He is going to have the DRS on the Renault driver. Coming down into turn 4, he makes a very, very easy overtake with DRS into turn 4 here. Nixana back up into 4th, looking to catch up on the podium after that spin he had last lap. Tiger, half a second behind Carries now, having dropped back a place earlier on while we were watching Nixana overtake Bear Gaming. Carries in 6th, Tiger in 7th, Silence in 8th, going into turn 8 now. Very interesting wheel-to-wheel action here so far in the race.
Yeah, also looking back further, Jeb is slowly catching Tesmo as well. Not sure if he's going to be close enough.
Now, one thing that I did see earlier on is Skybits did receive a 3-second time penalty after multiple warnings here, so it could be that he drops back a couple of positions as there's only 3 seconds separating him and P4 at the moment. So he is going to want to extend that gap in order to catch the podium if that penalty still stands.
Yeah, well, Lando's Milkman has just crossed the line to start the final lap of the race. 3.6 seconds behind him is Skybits, currently in P2, but with the penalties he's accumulated, yet to see his actual finishing position. Pasek in 3rd, at the moment Nixon at 4th, Bear close behind. Going to use all that battery, and this battle for 6th is still going on.
Alpha looking to make a move around the inside of that Mercedes. Ooh, the Mercedes pushes the Alpha out wide here in turn 3. He is still in the lead coming down into turn 4, except the Williams and the Alpha both have the DRS. The Alpha looking to make a move on the inside. The Mercedes closes the door there, squeezes him a little bit coming through turn 5 now. We are on the final lap here in Bahrain, guys. Of course, penalties could come into play here as these drivers cross the grid.
Well, I think Skybits has made the gap. 3 seconds to Pasek.
Very, very good there.
Keep it clean here. And he will get that podium. But Tiger and Silence going side by side down the final DRS straight. Fuel indicator for a Silence. They're still side by side through turn 11.
Keep in mind, guys, these guys have been wheel to wheel throughout the past 3-4 laps here for this P6 battle.
And Pasek's lost the podium at the last corner.
Lando coming across first in that Red Bull. Skybits second so far. Nixana moves back up into 3rd. He'll get the podium he was deserving of throughout this race. Bear Gaming in 4th.
Well, is Silence going to get the run close enough? I don't think so. Oh, we had a penalty.
Carries in 6th, Tiger in 7th now. Silence in 8th. So it was Carries, Tiger, and Silence fighting for that P6, but it looks like Carries is going to have that on lock here at the finish of the race. Tesmo in 9th. Looks like Jeb there in the Haas finished 10th. We'll review this one more time before we go into some interviews with our podium finishers. It is, of course, guys, ERS Season 6, Tier 3 Division, Round 2, Bahrain Grand Prix. Lando in that Red Bull taking his 2nd win of the season here. He did, of course, win in Round 1, Australia. Skybits with a podium in that Ferrari. Nixana in the Toro Rosso, rounding off the podium in 3rd. Bear Gaming in 4th, Pasek in 5th, Carries in 6th, Tiger in 7th, Silence in 8th, Tesmo in 9th, Jeb rounding off the top 10-point finishers in that Haas. Olipub is 11th, Kalusa 12th. K4 unfortunately unable to finish this race here. Meme in the McLaren as well, and Persian with the disqualification, failure to serve his drive-through penalty that he received on the first safety car. Very unfortunate to see the Renault of Persian out of the race. He was on for a very good race finish based on his pole position, but this race, unfortunately, in Bahrain just did not go his way. So we will be jumping into some interviews here in just a moment. Not too sure if I can get Mikau in there as well.
Nah, you can do the interviews, man.
All right,
All right.
sounds good, my friend. Thank you very much for joining me, guys, for this race in Bahrain. Thank you very much, Mikau, for your co-commentary today. Always a pleasure.
No worries.
I'm going to jump into the ERS Discord for a moment to get these interviews underway. And I'll see you guys soon for some open lobby racing. All right, guys, that was round 2 of the ERS Tier 3 Season 6 racing season. Very, very interesting finish there, as we had Lando taking home his second win of the season with Skybits in the Ferrari in second, and of course Nixana rounding off the podium in third. Let me see here. Oh, my mic's muted. Lovely. All right, yeah, just getting some interviews done real quick here. I just want the podium finishers. So if you are not a podium finisher and you're in here, mute your mic, my friends. Waiting for Lando to jump in, as he did win the race. We have Skybits and Nixana on standby. Okay, so Lando, welcome back to the interview room, my friend. How are you doing today? How was that race for you? Congratulations on the P1.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, I'm sweating.
How did you feel about the safety cars throughout that race there? Were you upset when the first safety car came out with having such a big lead early on, or was it...
Yeah, it made me nervous.
It made you nervous?
Yeah, I mean, it was right on my pit window. I was pitting that lap anyway. That was going to happen. So it didn't compromise me, but it did kill that lead that I had. But I still had the lead, obviously, so could have been worse. But yeah, and the second one was pretty much the same, wasn't it? I decided not to pit because I thought I'm just going to make it easier for myself.
Yeah.
But I had a really good fight with Nixana at the end there. That was a lot of fun.
Speaking
sadly, he spun
of
on the curb.
Well, speaking of the fight with Nixana there, What happened with Nixana there through turns 5 and 6? Because we saw a spin from him through Sector 1 there. I just wanted to get your perspective on what happened, because he was in the lead at the time.
Yeah, so he got me around the outside of turn 3, which he's done. He did twice. That was quite good. He was able to outbrake me around the outside. And then I was close behind him going through turns 4 and 5. And I wasn't sure because I was close behind him, and then he spun off to the right. So I wasn't sure if I touched or not, but he says he spun on the curb. So
Okay.
I didn't feel anything. So
All right, very good. Yeah, we weren't too sure what happened there. We didn't have the best view of it, unfortunately, due to our camera angle, but we did see him spin off, and Skybits, fortunately, able to move up into second, given that spin.
But he still finished third, which is still good, I think.
So you had your first win last weekend in Australia. How does it feel this time around, having had the dry race?
I wasn't confident at all with Bahrain, if I'm honest. I struggled with traction a bit. No, I wasn't. But I think that's probably the same with most people. It's just one of those tracks that you're not confident with, even though your times don't look too bad.
Well, you definitely showed a lot of confidence out there on this track throughout the race. We noticed a few lockups there after the second safety car restart on the hard compound tires. Were you struggling with those after the second restart, or was it just, driver error?
No, it wasn't. I wasn't struggling with the tires as such, but obviously in the fight with Nixana, he overtook me the first time, and I went really wide in the final corner, which lost quite a lot of time. But then I put in a couple of consistent laps and caught back up again. And
right on.
I was saving ERS behind him for a couple of laps, and then I went for an attack. But then he was able to just get me back on the next straight around turn 3. So,
well, congratulations, my friend, on the win. It is, of course, your second win. Enjoy it. Hope to see you for round 3 in Shanghai.
I'll be there.
So I'm just gonna, so thank you very much for the interview. Now we're gonna go with Skybits, our second place finisher here in round 2 of the ERS. Skybits, are you with us?
Yeah, I am.
How are you doing, my Ferrari driving friend? What a race from you. How did it feel to finish on the podium there here in our ERS Tier 3?
It was, listen, it was expected. I felt like I was going to get podium. It
was expected. Really?
Yeah, it was expected.
Very confident going into Bahrain,
I like Bahrain, dude. It's one of my tracks, I feel like I can always do good here.
In qualifying, we noticed your first lap was set on the softs. Would you say that was just a warm-up lap, saving your medium and hard tires?
I fill up my the tank to like 10 laps, and I started going slowly on medium fuel, and just going around the track, just wasting tire wear on the softs, because I was gonna set them on the medium. There's no point. Softs burn up too quickly or wears out.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, on the mediums, you were able to claim P5 in qualifying. How did you feel when you found out that you were going to be starting the race in P5 on mediums?
It was nice until I got pushed back 2 more positions, I think.
Oh, that's right. Yes, you did. You did start in P7. I do remember now. You started with the Williams of Silence in front of you on the soft compounds, and Persian in front of him on the mediums. The front 3 qualifiers, I should say, did start on softs. How did you feel your race was going to go with those 3 drivers on the soft compound starting the race? Did you feel like you were going to gain some good track position there throughout the first phase, or was it, kind of wait and see? What was your expectations throughout the first race, first phase of the race, I should say?
Well, for the first stint, if there was no safety car, I think I probably would have been fighting for first, because the softs are just, like I said, they wear out too quickly, and I have the mediums, so I would be able to extend more time. But safety cars happen, so they got saved at that.
Yeah, I'd say you had a very interesting race given how it started. You did drop back quite a few places at the beginning, if I'm not mistaken, there as well. Let's see here. You also, now, at the beginning of the second safety car, this is a question that both Macau and I had for you 100%, was what prompted the pit stop during the second safety car when you were on the hard compound tires? Were you just
I
more
was just
comfortable on the mediums?
confident. I was just more confident with the mediums, thinking that if I can do it and I get a decent start, after the safety car goes in, that I can just go instantly and fight for like first or second in the next 3 laps.
All right.
I got held up a little bit by Bear and my teammate, but in the end, it worked out.
Where would you rank this race among your league races for you? Where would you rank this in your league experience?
Top 5?
Top 5?
Maybe
Yeah,
top
you're
5.
you're happy with the P2 then? Do you think you would have been able to catch Milkman at any point throughout the race, or do you think P2 is
No,
the
not
best
not
you were
after
going
the
to get?
safety cars. Yeah, no, not after the safety cars. He was quick. So was third place. He was super quick. Unlucky for him, Nixana got drove off the track. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but those two were just really quick on the hards when I was on mediums. So it was cool to see.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up our interview. Congratulations on the P2 in Bahrain. Hopefully, you're able to carry it over into China as well next week. We're going to jump into an interview with Nixana now in the Toro Rosso. Nixana, how you doing?
I'm all right. Hello.
How was the race for you? Congratulations on the P3.
Better than I thought it was going to be after the first pit stop, because I thought it was pretty much done after then, because I spun just before the first pit stop and broke my wing on the lap, but I was going to pit in anyways because my tires were completely dead.
Right. How did you feel about the safety cars throughout the race? Would you say it definitely helped you get into that podium position?
Oh yes, it did. If it wasn't for the safety car, I wouldn't have been able to actually attempt to attack Lando's going into the last few laps. And
now, speaking of those last few laps, what happened between you and that Red Bull of Lando throughout the last few laps? Because you guys were in a neck-and-neck battle. You had the lead coming out of turn 4 and 5. It looks like you just lost things going up into sector 2.
Yeah, I clipped the curb going, I think, I'm not quite sure, I'll just check again. I clipped the curb, I think, going... let me just check. Let's see, I clipped the curb going... because there's the left and then there's the right at the start of sector 2. I clipped the curb on the inside of the right, and that spun me around, unfortunately. It was a bit odd. I wonder if maybe it like grounded out or something, because it just completely threw me into a spin. Fortunately, I didn't hit the wall, so that was good.
Yeah, fortunately, you were able to keep on going. So from our perspective on stream, we didn't get to see too much of what happened, but from your perspective, there was no foul play there?
No, there wasn't.
Okay, very good.
He was hard put fair. That was, it was hard put fair racing, and yeah, he did not touch me. The proximity markers stayed white throughout. He did not touch me. It was...
Well, that's very good to hear. We weren't too sure what happened from our perspective there in the commentary booth, but very happy to hear you say, of course, had it been foul play, you'd be the victim. So, of course, I want to hear your perspective on things.
I would have said, but it was not. And yeah, it was a good race. And to be honest, he made the least mistakes. He made he made the qualifying work. He made the race work, and he really did. I think he deserved the win at that point.
Well, congratulations on the P3. Hopefully you'll be able to carry that on over into round 3 in China. And we'll be looking forward to watching you there as well.
I sincerely doubt that I'm going to do well at China. It's never been one of my better tracks. I suffer quite a bit of tire overheating there, so I suspect I won't be returning for that one. But hopefully in either Azerbaijan or Spain.
Okay.
Cross fingers. But,
well,
yeah, this is fun.
Well, thank you very much for joining us in the interview. Congratulations again on the podium, and we'll hope to see you claiming some more wins and points here in the races to come.
I hope I can get a win. I've never gotten one, actually. I've only ever gotten podiums. P2 is
Well-
the best I've gotten. But yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk. Thanks.
Yeah, not a problem. Take care and see you next time.
You too.
Okay, guys, so that wraps up ERS Season 6, Tier 3, Round 2. It was, of course, the Bahrain Grand Prix. Lando's Milkman taking his second straight victory here after Australia in Bahrain now. He comes home with the points. Of course, Skybits finishes in P2 in the Ferrari, and the Toro Rosso of Nixana rounding off the podium in third. So congratulations to our podium finishers. Congratulations to all of our points finishers here in the race. It was a very fun race to commentate. Of course, thank you to Mikhail for joining me in the booth today.